All right. Good evening, everyone. Glad you could be here with us this evening. We have another extraordinary Immunotech story to share with you. And as always, it's always a very unique story. Everybody's journey is different. And I just want to say that tonight you're going to have two stories in one from this gentleman. His name is Allen H. He's from Virden, Manitoba. I've had the great privilege of knowing Allen for several years now. He joined Immunotech in 2017, where I got to know him, and I'm proud to say that he works as a colleague of mine. So Allen, welcome to the call tonight. It's great to have you.
Thanks for having me, Judy.
Well, I've heard your story many times, and it never gets old, as they never do. The Immunotech stories are always, oh, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here for a moment. Hang on here.
It's done. You can go
Thanks, Dylan, because we
forward.
want to make sure that we see our guest. And, like I said, Ellen, I know your story, it never gets old because our stories are so profound that you can hear them over and over again. So you joined Immunotech in 2017, but you didn't join Immunotech because you had a health concern. Is that right?
That's right. I said something to a friend on Facebook, and she referred me to somebody else and talked about this product called Immunocal because my dad was diagnosed with bladder cancer. And here's a father that was he 92, 93 at the time, never been sick in his life, and all of a sudden devastated, he's got bladder cancer. Now, when they went in and did the biopsy on it, they said that if he was a younger man, they would have taken his whole bladder. But at 93, they couldn't. So all of a sudden, he comes out that he has bladder cancer. Devastated. So I talked to somebody, and we just talked and like that, and I thought, hey, here's a product that could help my dad. And I just went ahead and I ordered the big pack because I knew I was going to go on it. So that's what we did. And so he started off in the Immunocal, and my mom was mixing it up, and they would mix it up first in a little bit of yogurt, and then they would then add in the cranberry juice, and that's how they would drink it. So, and then that was in about February when we finally got them on it. So go ahead. In the meantime, yes, there's bladder cancer. So then they talked to him about radiation. So, and I talked to Dad about this and that, and at first he opted not to get the radiation, and then he decided that maybe he would get the 20 days of radiation. But to be honest, he just drove in an hour in to get it and out, and he had no side effects, none whatsoever. So that was his radiation was done August 20th. So then we had to book an appointment with a urologist on October 2nd. So Mom and I were waiting in the waiting room, and I said to Mom, I have to go plug the meter because it's going to be done. And they said, no, he's done. So the prognosis was no cancer in the bladder. They couldn't find anything. So then 11 days later, we went to the oncologist. And just to let you know, I never checked with any doctors whether he could take this product or not, because to me, it was food for the immune system. Mm-hmm. So we went to the oncologist, and he says, oh, don't worry about it. He's still got cancer in his body. There's still cancer there. So we'll jump forward to January 10th, and he had a scan. And then January 14th was a telehealth scan because Mom and Dad didn't really want to drive to Brandon because it was minus 45 wind chill. So I went up there, and the oncologist, and I remember his words. You're right. He doesn't have cancer in his body. Just like that.
Wow.
So, and then after that, Dad had a few other complications, and he had to go back to the hospital. We couldn't get the Immunocal into him, and so he ended up going into the personal care home, and by the end of March, he had passed on. But, he had beaten cancer in his body just
So
by
how long had he
doing.
been on the Immunocal, Allen, before he had the
So
radiation?
he probably would have been on the Mini-Cal in February of that year. And then it was the next March that he passed away. So he had been on February right up till the end of December on Immunocal.
Wow.
But it just felt so good to have that oncologist say, "You're right. He does not have any cancer in his body."
Wow.
So
Now, your dad was 92, is that right?
he's 92 and he passed on. Yeah. So yeah.
Wow. And
Yeah.
so,
So
so he took the radiation, he sailed through the radiation because
yeah.
the Immunocal seemed to help him with that as well.
Well, yeah, he sailed through it because it was just like an hour drive into Bannon and 10 minutes waiting. And see, they didn't know how much radiation to give him. So he says, "We don't know how much radiation to give to a man of this age. Nothing." So, yeah, he sailed through it just
And
like that.
why did he stop taking it?
He didn't stop taking it. He had to go into the hospital because he went in for, we gave mom a bit of respite. So he decided to stay in the hospital for the 2 or 3 days, and he stubbed his toe, got infection in his body, and that
Mm,
was a downhill slide because the doctor in the hospital didn't want him to have the Immunocal. And
right.
that was it. It just kind of, then he had so much other problems, and that was it. But he knew that Immunocal worked. So
Mhm.
yeah,
That's amazing to consider that he was 92 years old and
yes,
the benefits that he got from Immunocal. That's incredible at that age.
yes,
Hey?
yes, yeah.
So you've been taking it yourself for many years, right?
I've been taking it as long as Dad had taken it. So I started taking it in my mother's side of the family. There's a lot of colon cancer, and you always think of the day that you're going to get the diagnosis from the doctor. "Hey, guess what? You got cancer." Nobody wants to hear that diagnosis. Nobody. And I'm one of them. And see, when my mom was 60, she had an operation that she was within a half an inch of having colostomy because that's how much cancer was in her bowels. So, and it ended up that I started taking this. So for the last 20 years, every 2 years, I've had a colonoscopy, regular clockwork. And sure, in 2018, they found 5 or 6 polyps on there, and there's no cancerous. And then 2020, there was a few bit less because I started taking the Immunocal. And then I was supposed to have one in October last year, and I couldn't make it, so they moved it to April this year. So when the surgeon called me last night and explained me on the polyps, he went back to 2018. He said, "You had a few polyps in there that we were quite worried about the structure of the polyps. They weren't cancerous, but they were probably leading towards cancer." So then 2020, the polyps weren't as many. And, I guess when he said the polyps were close to the end of the colon. So that was really an issue. So what he said to me last night, and he says, "Well, we took polyps off, and when we looked at them, there was nothing inside them at all." He said, "Come
Wow.
back in 5 years," just like that. So
You
yeah,
know, what you're saying is so important because, we forget that our body has to look after itself. We think that we're doing all these things to repair our body every day, but it's not true. You didn't know that that was an issue, but your body
well,
did know it was an issue. And
and
that's
actually,
exactly the function of the immune system, is to take care of all that stuff. But if your
I
immune
do have
system's not working well, it can't take care of it.
I do have another little story, Judy, that I have not talked to you about. But I have many friends down in Colombia, South America. Karen's daughter, Sandy, was 8 years old, and they found a lump in one of her ovaries, so they operated. And lo and behold, the oncologist says, "I think we need to give you some preventive chemo." Here's a little girl, 8 years old, beautiful, dark hair down almost to her waist, and she lost all her hair. She turned 9 halfway through preventive chemo. She turned 9. That was before I knew anything about Immunocal. So I shipped Immunocal down to her once I found out like that. And I think we gave her a third of the pouch of Immunocal a day. So when she went back in to do the blood reports in July, her blood work was 100%. The doctor says, "What did you do?" And they didn't say anything because Immunocal was not in Colombia at that time. And she's been free and clear ever since. But that's the
Wow.
story there that just kind of, here's a 9-year-old girl. And, you know, when she went back to school, she was wearing a bandana. And
Mm.
one of her students in there said, she's going to die. She has cancer.
Oh,
But, you know, she has come back and, you know, now she's 16, 17. Beautiful.
wow. And she's been taking Immunocal for a long time now.
Yes. Yes.
Wow, that's incredible. And how does she feel about it as a teenager now? Like, does she understand the
No,
benefits it's
she,
given
she
her?
kind of basically doesn't understand. We don't get into that with her, but you know, it's just and you know, I haven't seen them for about 6 years. And I know when she was 10 years old, she just said to me, she says, "I consider you to be my grandfather." That's how close we are. So yeah, just kind of
Wow.
Immunical works well in the system. You just got to believe what the scientists brought to us.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that, what you just said. We don't have to have a lot of belief in Immunocal. It's scientifically proven for
That's right.
decades to do what it does, and makes that promise to us. It does
Yeah,
do that.
yeah,
And so now here you are since 2017, and you shared it with lots of people,
yes.
lots of people in your organization. And one of the things that really hit home with me, Alan, is you're an accountant. You're doing your accountant work every day. And
Mhm.
you made me think, a lot of us live two lives, right? We're doing this work as our
We,
primary,
we
but
live
we're
more than
doing
two.
this work.
We live more than two lives, you know. But the thing is it's the word live. We want to live to the best that we can, and that's what Immunical gives us. And
Wow.
you know, you just kind of yeah.
So what advice do you give families and people now? Like what is it that you say when
Well,
they're
you know the thing is Immunical is not a drug or anything that way. Sure, we can't say we cure, treat, diagnose, but it's a food for the immune system. And it's all it is a food. And you know,
Mhm.
that's what we're putting. It's like you eat food to consume to get your energy, but Immunical kind of is the same way, but it feeds the other part of your body that I don't have a hot clue what's about. But you
Mhm.
know, they've done that. It's a food for your immune system.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing is if we can find natural food that energizes us is better than what's out there. So
Yeah. It's so exciting to know that at 92 years old, look at the quality of life you gave your dad.
mm,
And I understand, he didn't come through the last infection, but nevertheless, he had a quality of life for the period
yeah,
of
the quality
time.
of life. Yeah,
Great quality of life. And
yeah.
I had a dear friend come over, and she is 48 years old, young girl, had a very, very serious illness for 2 years. She's just started Immunical. And she said, "Judy, I'm a young woman for 2 years. It took 2 years away from my life being sick. And the cost of it is,
Well,
it's
you just tell her
extraordinary."
that now she's on Immunocal and she's gained those 2 years back.
Yeah, that's a
Basically,
really
she
good
has.
point.
She
A
has
really
gained.
good
She may
point.
have lost 2 years now, but she's going to gain more years down the road.
Yeah. And this is it. It's the quality of life that we give to people. And I
That's
love
right.
what you just said. It's not a cure. It's not, but it's
No.
just giving something back that people can enjoy their
That's
life
right.
as best as
That's
they
right.
can.
Yeah.
Allen, I want to thank you for being my guest tonight. As always, we talk frequently, but it's always
Yes, we do.
it's great to see you this way and to
Yeah.
have your story.
Yeah.
So I
Glad to
appreciate
be
you.
here.
You're an active member of our community. We appreciate you. We thank you for being part of our community for quite a long time now,
That's
and
right.
no intention of stopping.
Nope. Nope. No intention of stopping at all.
Well, thank you again, and thanks for sharing that with our audience tonight. Appreciate you, and thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right. This short clip by Dr. Gutman is really very inspiring, and I'll tell you why. You've now got the valuable insights into Immunocal and how it's going to help you increase your energy, help you get better sleep, enhance your mental focus. These are fantastic. But to close, I want to close with Dr. Gutman's message because he's going to share more about Immunotech's product patents. And Dr. Gutman also speaks to the heart of what drives our whole community. It's a genuine commitment to improving overall health and well-being. So here we go.
We were the first to discover a natural protein that raises the immune system. We were the first to demonstrate this in human beings. We were the first to have a government officially approve a medical claim for a natural product to improve immune function. We were the first to acquire method of use patents for addressing specific health issues in humans using natural glutathione precursors. We have dozens of other method of use patents. I can go on and on describing Immunotech's firsts. This year we're going to surpass 70 published studies on Immunocal, when almost all the other companies in our space have no studies at all. Some have one or two mouse studies, and that's all they talk about all the time. We currently have the top neuroscientists in North America working on our product to improve things like brain function, neurodegenerative disease, head trauma. So people who are doing this job for the money will probably do okay, but people who are doing this as part of a movement will be guaranteed success.
There we go. As Dr. Gutman mentions, those who choose to join our community, our Immunotech community, they do so not just for the financial opportunity. They join it to be a part of a movement that's dedicated to making positive impacts in people's lives. And so if you're curious to know more about how you can become a part of this community and how you can be inspired and motivated to help other people improve their health, make sure you talk to the person who brought you to this call tonight and sit down and take a closer look at all of what we offer, our products and our opportunity. They can provide you more information. So thank you for joining us again, and we look forward to seeing you next Tuesday with another Immunotech story. Thank you and have a great evening.